right.
Yeah, right. I love it. All right. Well, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. This is another episode of Coach to Coach, where I have on our client, Julie, who went through our fast launch program and is currently working with us in our Coach to Coach program. Julie, I know it's been literally 10 seconds since we've talked. So what's going on? How you doing?
Doing well.
I love it. Excellent. I appreciate you taking the time to hop on the podcast, as I know recording is something that we've been overcoming, which is great. So this is a little bit of transition, but also learning through this. So I wanted to have Julie on the podcast, guys, because Julie experienced the Fast Launch program in its entirety. She went through to build out her program, her process, her funnels, her landing page. The most important thing, I think, is to understand kind of the process from really Julie's perspective and kind of like what she was working on, why she wanted to do fast launch, because it's easy for me to tell you like, hey, we can literally build out your program in like 60 days or 30 days or 2 days like we did with Julie. But it's another thing to actually hear it from someone who's actually done it. So Julie, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of tell us a little bit about you and about your company.
So my name's Julie, obviously, and just starting my health coaching business. I'm still working in corporate, and I started working with you, one-on-one for 2, 3 months. And then we were just talking about like how to get everything going. You got to get the website, you got to get all those things that you just said. And I started getting overwhelmed. And then at the same time, I wanted to just get it going. That's why I started working with you. And then we started talking about the fast launch, and you were like, we can work on a weekend and get this all done. And I got super excited. And I'm like, I want to go all in. Like, let's do it now. Because I asked you, well, we talked about it several times. I'm like, I just want to get this going. I don't want to wait 30, 60, 90. I mean, I could do it that way, but I just want to jump full in and make that transition. And so super excited. And yeah, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say at this point, but I'm super excited.
Absolutely. Well, we're pumped to have you on the podcast, and obviously it was phenomenal working with you. I appreciate you coming out to Toronto of all places to
So
explore
fun.
all of the core downtown. And outside of obviously working on your business, I mean, we had a lot of great times where we just literally talked about business development and growth, and I think that was also kind of like a hidden feature of the weekend, but
Yeah.
it's a big thing. So in terms of your company, why don't you share with everyone listening what type of coaching company you are in the process of building right now? So what do you want to build, and who is it that you're looking to help through this process?
So I want to build, working with people one-on-one and also group coaching. And I really want to focus on people similar to myself. So women in corporate, women that are going through a lot of stress. They maybe have older kids or maybe empty nesters at this point, and they really have fallen behind on focusing on themselves, their health. The same thing I went through, same exact thing. And so I'm really passionate about what I went through and how I can help people in a very similar situation, and just kind of go from there.
I love that. So you shared with me when we first started working together a really amazing story, which was like, you had kind of gotten your certifications as a coach, but it was something that like you kind of put on the back burner and stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to tell it in the best way. Like, what was kind of that pivotal moment for you where you were like, hey, you know what? Like, I've made the decision to be a coach, and this is something that I want to do.
I mean, I always have been into health and wellness. And then, yeah, like 5 years ago, maybe I got certified with the integrative nutrition. I just came across the certification. It took me a year, and I was super excited, and I was ready to jump in. And I just started thinking about all these things. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And so then I'm like tramping along, the next 5 years, still working out, still into health and fitness, still talking to everyone around me about it. And then I think in like the last year, like in the back of my mind, I always wanted to do this health coaching. But in the last year or so, I've been so miserable at work that I knew in the back of my mind, I need to do this full time. This is my passion. This is what I want to do, but I need help. And so I happened to meet someone. I did a free like online, somebody's masterclass, funny enough.
Okay.
And so then I met up with Madeline. Actually, we got connected somehow. We got put into a group that was talking during the master class, and then we headed off And so I started talking to her and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're very similar. And she's just, a year or two ahead of me. But we started talking and she's like, yeah, I work with this coach, Andrew. And I'm like, yes, I need a coach. I've been talking about it. I need a mentor or a coach. And it's like everything synchronicity, everything aligned. And I was like, this is like everything's lining up and I'm just going for it. So everything, all those kind of things lined up. And then when I started working with you, I was like, yeah, yeah. And then this fast launch, I just got super excited because it fits my personality, and just going all in and getting it going it just worked out perfectly for my situation and for who I am as a person. So
I love it.
hopefully that
What
answered.
For sure. I mean, one of the best things that I think about you and about most coaches really is like a lot of coaches are self-led, where you know what you want, you know what you want to build, you know who you want to help, but a lot of the times like we as people we get caught in the weeds, right? Where
Mhm.
you're trying to, okay, where do I start with content? Do I start with this? Do I build up my program first? And then when you look at all of the things that you have to build out and you're like, well, there's just so much here, you get kind of this analysis paralysis where you're like, I
Mhm.
don't know honestly where I need to go next. Do I need to be working on program modules? Should I be working on getting people signed up? And that's the reason why I really built out Fast Launch, because I was seeing kind of a lot of the coaches that we were working with, like they had phenomenal ideas and they're phenomenal people and they're so knowledgeable, but like they were just kind of slowly at a snail's pace getting their program ready, when it
Mhm.
actually isn't, like it doesn't take that long like you saw for us to get stuff in, right?
Mhm.
And it was crazy because like we literally did everything that we did in 2 days. Okay, so
Mhm.
like share with these guys, because I don't think they understand like what we did. Okay, when you came into Fast Launch, what did you have ready for your program for your business? Like, what did you have ready?
I mean, minimal to nothing. I had some ideas, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
about the areas I wanted to focus on, but literally, like, no website, no modules, no, like, just the beginning stages of the ideas, like, nothing set up at all. Cause, you got to work through all that. So, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yes, I want to get all this set up at once. And like you just said, that's what stopped me, because I knew I'm not good at marketing, and I'm not good at the business side. I'm not good at the website building, all that kind of stuff that you just mentioned. That's what held
Mm-hmm.
me back, to be honest, because I know those aren't my strengths. I know I'm good at coaching and I'm good with people. So,
Right.
and be able to get all that done, like we got so much done. I was amazed. Like, and we had fun at the same time. So,
I love it. You know me, I love having fun, right? And
yeah,
that's
it's
the
great.
that's
No,
the
you
best
made
part.
it so much fun because, like you said, you work hard, but then we got to do fun activities. So it really, the whole experience was fantastic, and I would recommend it to anyone because I feel so much more confident also after the weekend, like moving forward, working on
Yeah.
it. So,
I think the biggest thing is number one, like, and again, I can only, you can testify to this if it's true or not, but I feel like when coaches get clarity, they move really quick on stuff. And clarity is something that we're all seeking. And you had
hmm
mentioned something which is really, really interesting, which is like that you knew that you weren't a good marketer, that you weren't a good business. Like, and here's the thing with coaching, and it's the thing that I can't stress enough to everybody like watching these episodes or even going to be listening to this series moving forward, is like when we sign up as coaches, it's because we learned some amazing information. We're like, I want to change lives. And you're like, I want to be a coach. I'm good at coaching. I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at helping them through challenges. No one really tells you that there's so much more to coaching. That
hmm
you're going to have to market your program. You're going to have to create content for your program. You're going to create modules for your program. There's landing pages, there's backlinks, there's nurture sequences, there's follow-up sequences, all of the stuff that we worked on in the launch. There's also, like, again, client retention. There's, who's your target market? All of these things are things that actually as a coach detract you from coaching, where you're like,
yeah,
I'm just
agree.
spending so much time creating a
hmm
landing page when I could actually just be coaching somebody.
hmm
And I feel like this is kind of why it takes coaches forever to actually pull the plug, or to pull the trigger on
hmm
some of the stuff, and to do it.
For
Right.
sure. hmm
Yeah. Now, through this process, and in going through the fast launch system, what was your objective going in, and what did you want to accomplish in such a tight time frame for you?
I mean, the website piece was a big part of it, just getting it set up and getting all the information, like the setup, how it's going to look, what needs to go in there. And then the big part was just the first program to launch, right? Like, what do I want to focus on? How am I going to do the modules, the time frame, like all the breakdown of and then what else? Well, the video creation, that's yeah.
The video. Do we want to talk about this video
We
stuff, which
can.
is why I've got you on it right now?
We
So,
can.
so Julie here has, I think, the challenge that I believe a lot of coaches have, where they, for some reason, have a really hard time creating content. When they're speaking to people, content flows absolutely freely, which is so interesting because every time I talk with you, I know, like, you know your shit, and I know that, and I feel it, and I see it. And then it's like, when it comes to actually creating and transferring that message, somehow we want to get it like super perfect. We want to make sure that it's being said in the right way, that it's helping the right people. And all of a sudden we get paralyzed, right? So how did you kind of feel about your, like, initially before doing fast launch, like, how did you feel the process of creating content was for you?
I mean, nothing to do with you, but coming into it like that, it's a fear, right? I mean, like you said, I'm confident with what I know, what I'm passionate about. I'm very confident with helping people one on one and that kind of thing. But when it comes to the content and especially the videos and all that, I've told you before, this is just me, maybe not everyone, but I'm a perfectionist. So putting myself out there, putting myself on video, like, it's just gut wrenching, and it's hard. It's like pushing through the fear, and like you said, you have to just practice it and start moving forward. But it's still, I think for me, it's going to take a bit of time to get used to it. But if I just think of, okay, like you said, I'm talking to one person. Like, do not think that you're talking to like 500 people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that I try to have that in the back of my mind. Like, if I'm talking to one of my friends and they're asking me all this stuff, like my friends do. So if I just start talking like that, then I'm like, okay, I'm talking to Kelly and she's asking me these questions. So that way
Mm-hmm.
it makes it easier.
Absolutely. And I think one of the most things which I was incredibly proud of is, like, during this process, we went from, and I don't know how much time it was, but like, I was literally like, it's on record and we're just going to sit here and just talk through and work through the awkwardness. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's literally like, just like we would with our clients, like, what is it that we're going to do to help someone get through the other side? Because it was like, oh, it was awkward at first. It was this. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, a couple times. And then you film stuff and then you film another thing. And it just continued to build and stack on that. And you got more and more comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, the biggest thing about launching a program quickly, and I can't stress this enough, guys, is like spending so much time creating the program, but not having anyone in the program to coach. Like, it's a tragedy to me. And like, when I see all of the coaches who I know are phenomenal coaches, like you, who have great ideas, who have great programs, who have great knowledge, like, we should get it filled. We should build out a process where people are reaching out so much that, like, your program is already sold before you're even running it.
Right.
Because what was the thing that I told you about the program modules? Do you remember why I
Well, you
said,
said you're not going to spend all these hours and hours and hours and have this perfect module, perfect content, looking all great, and then you have no one because you haven't like promoted your program.
right? And
And
that's why.
I was like, oh wow, he's so spot on, because all you're thinking about is I have to get this, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. I haven't even started promoting. So what's the point of getting this perfect program if I haven't even started marketing it?
Mhm. And that's the thing, is like, as a coach, and it's totally normal because your skill is coaching. So you immediately want to go where the coaching is. The coaching's in the program.
Right.
But you need to market the program. You need to create a messaging for the program. You need to create an offer for the program. We even built through Fast Launch, like what's going to be your kind of introductory to make this. Oh, is it a masterclass? Is it, how are you going to be able to then promote the actual offer? And that's why in going through the process, like, the reason why we had you do it in 2 days is literally to show everybody, every coach, like if this can be done in 2 days, and literally, and like, look, we won't sugarcoat it. There were long days. Let's be real, right? Long days, right?
Right,
You
but
you
not
were with
bad.
me from sun up to sundown, which was
No, but it
fun.
wasn't
We
bad.
we
No,
had
yeah.
a blast, but I think the thing is if you can do it in 2 days, why are you taking so long to build out a program?
Right. Yeah.
What do you feel in your experience from coaches? Like, why do you feel sometimes it's hard for a coach to, make the effort to do content, to make the effort to create the program because they want to do it? What do you think is keeping them stuck?
It's overwhelming to me. Because I haven't done it before, just to think about how long is it going to take me? Like, what are the steps? What's the best way to approach it? Am I going to take too long to work on this step? And then am I missing these other ones? Like, because you have it all organized and you know the steps and you've done it. So when you're new to it, brand new to like even setting up a program, it's just, you don't even know where to start. Or you start on a part that you like and then you forget, oh, guess what? You have to do A, B, C, D, E. So yeah, it's just overwhelming is kind of my take on it. For me anyway.
Yeah, I feel that. And there's time, because there's been times that I've been overwhelmed. And I think one of the most important things is, like, especially as a coach, just like we tell clients, like, we don't need to know the full journey. You just need to know the next step. Really about taking, like, what is the next step? Is the next step, okay, who do we hire to work on the program to do the thing? Or is the next step, okay, you know what? I've got, like, I always think about it like top down. Like, just like we worked at it in Fast Launch, like, who's your client? Let's talk about the promo, right? Let's get the promo and let's get the offer. Because realistically, that's what gets people in. And then once you have people, then you can build a program and do all the things that are inside, So if I feel like the overwhelm comes from, there's so many things that you could do, and you're just like, I just need to get started on this one thing, but which one is it? Which one do I pick? Which is a big thing.
Definitely.
So, as someone who's just joined the coaching world, coaches, are at different stages, and they're also very self-led people who take a lot of action. What do you think was kind of like the pivots for you? Because you're someone who, like, I mean, when you decided, even when you worked in the C2C, you were like, I'm in. When you're in, you're in. What is it that allows you to make those choices that quickly for you to decide whether or not it's for you or it's not?
For me, well, part of it's just my personality, but part of it's my situation because I've been in a corporate job I do not like for a long, long time. In the back of my mind, I've been wanting to do this, but I held myself back for different reasons, like scared, like we just talked about not knowing the steps and that type of thing. But then for me, when it presented itself, I was like, yes, this is what I need to do. I know I need a coach. I know I need to do this. And then the fast launch, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So for me, you know what I mean? It's like I'm a person of possibilities. So I've already thought about all this nonsense, like all of it. And so then when these things presented themselves right in front of me at that time, I'm like, yes, this is what I'm doing. I believe in this. I want to work with Andrew. I want to do the fast launch. I want to do this. So that's just for me, that's how I work because I had already thought about it and researched it to death. And so then I thought, okay, this makes perfect sense. I need someone to guide me and walk through the steps. And like you said, I get all, oh my gosh, there's so many steps. And like you've told me several times, we have to just go through these steps. You have to go through like the process of it. And so that's why I appreciate working with you because you walk through the steps and keep me on track. Because otherwise I would get too overwhelmed. Like it's just a lot. But, hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think, like, it's the the steps look different for every person, but I think the most important thing is like through the process, like being willing and open like you are to take a step each and every time into the unknown, to do things that you've never done before. I think one of the biggest things that coaches can do is the best way to show potential clients that you are a good coach is to do all of the things that a client should do that makes them a good client, and you exhibit all of that stuff. Like, for
Thank you.
example, when it comes, well, it's true. I mean, if you think about it, like if we want a client to be consistent, we need to be consistent. We need to be consistent with our marketing. We need to be consistent with our message. So why wouldn't we show up every single day at the highest version of ourselves? If we want our clients to follow a process, we should probably create and follow a process for ourselves, because it's process that brings consistent results. You're not going to have clients do random things. You're probably going to have them do structured stuff. And if a client gets overwhelmed, then you're probably going to tell the client, listen, I want you to just focus on one thing, and this is the next step. And just like you're like, hey, you know what? The next thing that I need to do is fast launch and to jump in so I can get my program done, my offer set, my landing pages, my sequences, everything is together. So then I can just build the content to promote the program, which is what's going to get people in the program.
Definitely.
And when you live like that and you also showcase that to clients, hey, I'm working with a coach, I'm doing the things, I'm showing up daily, I'm doing this. Someone goes, well, if they're following the same process, I want to be with the person who follows the same process. Because if you think about it, like, would I hire a coach who's never worked with a coach before? Probably not. Because that's not practicing what you preach. And that's what we need to do as coaches. It's about practicing what we preach and doing the steps, working through the fear, being the struggle, or going through the struggle in a way that's going to be realistic for us and for our business.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is the big thing. So you had mentioned something which I wanted to talk on. The research. That's what you said. You had said, I spent a lot of time doing the research. What did you mean by that?
Well, when I got my certification, that school, they basically give you a bunch of information about building your business. They tell you how to do the marketing. They tell you how to, like, it's reference material more
Okay.
like. So I even started, I got my business cards. I started doing a blog. I'd like little mini steps. But I just was like, I'd start and then stop, start, stop, start, stop, like little things, right? And then I was just like, I knew I needed guidance back then, but I didn't think, oh, I need a coach. I just kept thinking, okay, you're smart enough. Just look, like research it, see what you need to do. What's the best way to do this? And I didn't really have any other coaches, you know what I mean? Like mentors or anybody close to me to even ask to do that kind of thing with. And then yeah, that, I mean, that's the gist of it, is I just get in this cycle. That's just me as a person. I sometimes research too much and too many possibilities, but then once I decide which avenue I want to take, then I'm all in and I go, like with you.
Right.
But and like you said, with it's like with working, like you just said, like if you didn't have a successful coaching business, like fitness business, and you help coaches, that's part of the reason why, in addition to Madeline referring you, because I was like, oh, he has a successful coaching business and he does this. So it's like, that's who you want to, like you said, that's the behavior that you want to model, because they're looking at your behavior, right?
Absolutely. You know, there's this thing when we keep searching for more information. And, you know, to a really, really important thing, and this, for you guys listening, write this down. Your clients don't need more information. People have an abundance of information. You were given an abundance of information in your programs. But you even said what it is they need coaching to be shown how this information applies to them so they can take action on it. Sometimes we keep looking for more information. I was going to say inflammation, but really that's what it is. It's funny. My brain went like that, right? It's inflammation of everything that you've got in the mind. And then inflammation causes pressure. So
Right.
when you have too much information, you have too much inflammation, and that
Mm-hmm.
puts pressure on you to make a choice.
Yeah, and
For
then you just
me,
freeze up. Then you just freeze
yeah,
and don't take action. That's what
absolutely.
happened. That's what happened to me. Yeah. And I got mad at myself too.
So what was like, would you be open to share what was that pinpoint thing which you were like, you know what, fuck this. Like I'm gonna do it. Like what was that breaking point for you where you were like, no, 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 no. Like in terms of
Um,
mindset or
well, you mean about like doing it now or back then, like when I was not doing
yeah,
it?
doing it now. Like what was
Um,
that thing that was like, you know what, this for me was the breaking point.
it was at work. Like I just so frustrated and in a career like industry that I hate and just when I'm not working, I'm so happy, passionate. Like I'm at the gym, I'm talking to people about health, like getting all
Mhm.
excited. And the more and more it just work like blew up. And then these other interactions so positive, like I get, even my friends were like, you're so, passionate about the health and wellness. And I'm like, yes, dang it. Like I want to do coaching. So
Mhm.
it all just kind of came to, because I've always been into health and wellness, but I get so excited when I talk about it, like even to my family, and they're like, "Oh, you don't like your job, do you?" I'm like, "No, I want to do health wellness coaching. Like that's what I love." And so I think the work is what pushed me over the edge. I already knew I wanted
Mhm.
to, but that is the thing, the lack of control, and you can't change your work environment in the sense of like the industry I work in.
Yeah.
I'm not passionate. I don't like it. And so the more pressure from that is what kind of pushed me like, okay, it's time to jump.
Yeah. And you know what? I can literally feel your energy when you talk about how passionate you are. And
Hmm.
here's the thing, and here's where coaches get stuck. They're so passionate and they're like, I just want to help people. I just want to help people. But there's a bunch of crap in the way from preventing me from helping people. Maybe it's another workplace or another job. Maybe it's something that you're doing part-time. Maybe it's like my systems are not in order. My processes are all over the place. Like, but there's always these things that's preventing you from doing what you love to do, which is just showing up as coaching. And
Hmm.
eventually you get to this point where you're like, I am done. I don't want to see another process. I don't want to see another system. I don't want to look at another landing page. I just want to coach. And the farther you get pulled away from doing what you love because you let these things continue to snowball, is the longer it's going to take you to be able to just hop in and feel full joy. And that's
Hmm.
why the joy that, like, the experience of building your business, of working, of attracting those clients, of building out your entire program and then being able to promote it, all of that stuff gets you fired up and excited because it's
Hmm.
in alignment with what you do. We as coaches show up as the best versions of ourselves when we're in alignment with what we're talking about and when we're in
Hmm.
alignment with what we're doing. If we're not talking about things we enjoy, like, of course we're not going to be fired up. Of course people aren't going to want to be drawn to us. Or if we're doing things that we don't want to do, then we start to feel that energy takeaway.
Hmm.
And you and I had a conversation earlier, which was really powerful. And you had asked the question of like, how do I know if it's like I just don't want to do something, or if it's just something that's making me uncomfortable right now? And it's like, the combination of like, yes, there's going to be things in your business that like you're going to have to learn skills that maybe you don't like doing right now. But in reality, 90% of the things that you don't want to do in business, you're going to be able to hire, outsource, or work with someone else to get that stuff done. And where you should be showing up is coaching, it's content, it's creativity, it's creating programs. This is where you shine as a coach and where you can actually build a sustainable business that you love. Because another purpose of Fast Launch was I was looking at people who built programs off of the program. They started with the program first. And they're like, I'm going to build all of everything that's in the program. And then people go into the program and it's not what they need and they don't see results and they don't like the program because they built something they wanted instead
Hmm.
of something the clients wanted. And then it
Yeah.
left them feeling lack of fulfillment. They're like, oh, well, this sucks. People go through my program, they don't finish, they don't see results. And now what the hell? Now I don't know what to do because I thought I built this thing that I loved when really it wasn't the thing that the person needed.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
that's why,
unfortunate. Yeah.
oh, it is, right? You're like, I'm so glad that never happened to me.
Exactly. I'm glad I started fresh.
I love that.
Clean slate. Well, I had a clean slate. Like some people don't.
100%.
So it's
But like,
easier for me. Yeah.
it's proof that like, you know, you shared, like you had a clean slate, like
Mm-hmm.
completely, like we built everything up. So it
Mm-hmm.
can be done, and it can be done very quickly as long as you have a process, a system to be able to build all of those things out. So you can actually have a program, have all the content for it, start promoting the offer, have a way to take payments so people can start signing up to actually pay you to
Mm-hmm.
coach. And then you get
Mm-hmm.
fired up to actually want to build the program because there's money in your pocket. Like that's
Right.
all nice stuff, right?
Right.
But I appreciate you sharing the experience because at the end of the day, like it's coaches like you who go through the process. And as much as I can say that something is going to get X result or going to achieve something just like a client, it's always best to hear from the people who go through the process. Now, this is not related to anything we're talking about, but for coaches who are in the industry right now, maybe they're at a sticking point, maybe they're trying to whatever, they're at a pivotal movement where they're trying to make movements, they're trying to grow their business. What's a piece of advice that you would give them to help take them to the next level that you've learned so far?
I mean, this sounds dumb, but like they already know like probably what the issue is, but it's being the advice I would give is to be open to maybe thinking a different way, like mind shift, or because we get like in our tunnel vision and you're like, oh, I don't like this isn't successful, what do I need to work on? But then you need to just be open to a different way, or maybe talking to people, talking to other your coaches, your other friends, or networking and see if they have, tell them you have these problems, or I'm running against up against this, what do you think? And then they might say, oh, I know a coach, or I know like this fast launch, though. I mean, that's a one-off thing. I don't think a lot of places do that, so that's
Mm,
awesome. But yeah, to me, it's just being open, because you know what I mean? Like people just they have their blinders on and they think they're down the path, and maybe it's over here where you need to be taking a turn and look at it differently and develop different skills, even for someone that's already been coaching for a long time.
mm. I appreciate you sharing that because, you know, being a coach can be the most fulfilling thing. Like I believe truthfully that it is the most fulfilling job, which I mean, maybe I guess if you like do heart surgeries and you like directly save someone's lives with your hands, maybe that's more fulfilling. But I believe that coaching is like the most fulfilling thing. But we stay in this lone wolf like silo mode where we believe
Mm-hmm.
that we have to build it all ourselves, do it all ourselves, that no one can support us, and it can be a very lonely process.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into your head on top of that when things don't work the way that you want, or you're not getting the outcome you expect. And then you start to grind your own gears, as well as
Mm-hmm.
life, kind of putting you in this kind of isolated spot. So I love the fact that just sharing, like, reaching out, getting the support, working with people, being a part of a business group or a networking group. Like there are so many like-minded individuals out there that
Mm-hmm.
really can be the difference between whether or not you stick it out and are successful, or you fold and say, hey, you know what, this isn't for me.
Well, especially
So,
people like me that I've never had my own business ever. I've always wanted to for like ever. But if you're brand new to that, even that's even on top of the building the coach business. It's just
mm,
starting a whole new business. That's like another whole decision in, you know what I mean, in the
yeah,
same thing as saying you want to do a health coaching. But I think that networking is important because someone else can say, "Oh, I'm a year ahead of you. I've already been down that path. I've seen those fears. You can talk to me about it, or I can help you," and just have someone to lean on, kind of.
100%. I love that. We can all use somebody to lean on and be able to build that together. So
Definitely.
that's huge. And I appreciate you taking the time to hop on the podcast, you
Of
taking the
course.
time to share your experience. One of the things for all of you guys watching, so like Julie said, so she's working with corporate execs now who are kind of transitioning out of the corporate space, want to work on their health and their wellness. I'm going to drop her links below to her program, and that's Julie Adler Wellness. So you're going to be able to see that link there, because one of the best things that other coaches can do is, if you don't work with those people, refer them to coaches who do work with those people, because we can all help each other. That's the best part about this. So I'll drop her socials and I'll drop her links and stuff below the episode, and then that way, of course, you guys can connect with her and take a look at what she's got going on. So thank you so much for hopping on the episode, Julie. And
Well,
I'm just going
thank
to ask
you.
you a fun little question. Would you say that fast launch was a success for you? Did you launch
Yes.
fast?
Yes. 200%.
I love it. 200% fast launch. That
Yep.
is the best. Nice. Well,
Well,
like I
thank
said,
you, Andrew. It's always a
thank you
pleasure.
so much. Absolutely. And have a good one, guys. Thanks for listening to the episode, and we will catch you on the next one.